I'm reading The Comedians. It's a novel by Greene, published in 1966. And it is the story which plays in Haiti, Port-au-Prince. The three comedians are Mr. Smith, also called the presidential candidate, Mr. Jones, who calls himself Major Jones, and Mr. Brown, who tells this story. There's been a corpse in his pool, and we learned a lot about his past. We are now in the second part of this book, and it's Roman 3, which I continue because it was so long. It's the 5th chapter. Haiti belongs by right to any third force, Captain Concasseur said. We are the true bastion against the communists. No Castro can succeed here. We have a loyal peasantry. Or a terrified one. I took a long drink of rum. Drink helped to make his pretensions more supportable. Your important visitor is taking his time. He told me he had been away from women for a long time. He barked at Mère Catherine. I want service, service, and stamped the floor. Why is no one dancing? A bastion of the free world, I said. The 4 girls rose from their table and one put on the gramophone. They began to dance together in a graceful, slow, old-fashioned style. Their balloon skirts swung like silver censers and showed their slender legs, the color of young deer. They smiled gently at each other and held one another a little apart. They were beautiful and undifferentiated, like birds of the same plumage. It was almost impossible to believe they were for sale, like everyone else. Of course, the free world pays better, I said, and in dollars. Captain Concasseur saw where I was looking. He missed nothing through those black glasses. He said, I will treat you to a woman, that small girl there with the flower in her hair, Louise. She doesn't look at you. She is very shy, because she thinks I might be jealous. Jealous of a putain. What absurdity. She will serve you very well if I give her the word. I don't want a woman. I could see through his apparent generosity. One flings a poutillon to a white man as one flings a bone to a dog. Then why are you here? He had a right to ask the question. I could only say, I've changed my mind, as I watched the girls revolve, worthy of a better setting than the wooden shed, the rum bar, and the old advertisements for Coca-Cola. I said, are you never afraid of communists? Oh, there's no danger from them. The Americans would land Marines if they ever became a damn danger. Of course, we have a few communists in Port-au-Prince. Their names are known. They are not dangerous. They meet in little study groups and read Marx. Are you a communist? How could I be? I own the Hotel Trianon. I depend on American tourists. I'm a capitalist. Then you count as one of us, he said, with the nearest he ever came to courtesy, except for your colour, of course. Don't insult me too far. Oh, you cannot help your colour, he said. I mean, don't say I'm one of you. When a capitalist state gets too repulsive, it is in danger of losing the loyalty even of the capitalists. A capitalist will always be loyal if he is allowed to cut a cut of 25%. A little humanity is necessary too. You speak like a Catholic. Yes, perhaps, a Catholic who has lost his faith. But isn't there a danger that your capitalists may lose their faith too? They lose their lives, but never their faith. Their money is their faith. They guard it to the end and leave it to their children. And this important man of yours, is he a loyal capitalist or a right-wing politician? While he chinked the ice in his glass, I thought I remembered where I had heard the name Captain Concasseur before. It was Petit Pierre who had spoken of him with some degree of awe. He had withdrawn all the dredgers and pumps belonging to an American water company after the employees had been evacuated, and the Americans had withdrawn their ambassador, and he had sent them to work on a wild project of his own at the mountain village of Kenskov. He hadn't got very far, for the labourers had left him at the end of a month because they were unpaid. It was said, too, that he hadn't cleared himself satisfactorily with a chief of the Tom-Toms Makut, who would have expected his proper cut. So Concasseur's folly stood on the slopes of Kenskov, 4 cement columns and a cement floor already cracking in the heat and the rains. Perhaps the important man now playing with Tintin in the stables was a financier who was going to help him out. But what financier in his senses would think of lending money in this country from which all the tourists had fled in order to build an ice skating ring on the slopes of Kenskov? We need technicians, even white technicians, Concasseur said. The Emperor Christophe did without them. We are more modern than Christophe. An ice skating ring instead of a castle. I think I have borne with you nearly enough, Captain Concasseur said, and I knew I'd gone a little too far. I had touched his raw wound, and I was a little scared. If I had made love to Martha, what a different night this would have been. I would have been sleeping deeply in my own bed at the hotel, unconcerned with politics and the corruption of power. The captain took the revolver out of his holster and laid it on the table, beside his empty glass. His chin dropped against his shirt of white and blue stripes. He sat in a lugubrious silence, as though he were weighing carefully the advantages and the disadvantages of a quick shot between the eyes. I could see no disadvantages so far as he was concerned. Mère Catherine came and stood behind me and deposited 2 glasses of rum. She said, "Your friend has been more than half an hour with Tintin. It is time." "He must be allowed," the captain said. "Whatever time he wants. He is an important man, a very important man." Small bubbles of spittle gathered at the corners of his lips like venom. He touched the revolver with the tips of his fingers. He said, "An ice ring is very modern." His fingers played between the rum and the revolver. I was glad when he picked up the glass. He said, "An ice ring is chic. It is snob." Mère Catherine said, "Your payment was for half an hour." "My watch keeps at different time," the captain said. "You lose nothing. There are no other customers." "There is Monsieur Brown." "Not tonight," I said. "I wouldn't know how to follow such an important guest." "Then why are you staying here?" the captain asked. "I'm thirsty and curious. It's not often in Haiti we have important visitor. Is he financing your ice ring?" The captain looked at his revolver, but the moment of spontaneity, which was the moment of real danger, had passed. Only signs of it remained, like traces of old sickness, the streak of blood across the yellow eyeballs, the striped tie which had somehow gone vertically askew. I said, "You wouldn't like your important foreign guest to come in and find a white corpse. It would be bad for tourists, for business." That can always be arranged later," he said with somber truth, and then an extraordinary smile opened his face. like a crack in the cement of his own ice rink. A smile of civility, even of humility. He stood up and, hearing the door of the salle close behind me, I turned and saw Tintin, all in white, smiling too, modestly, like a bride at a church door. But Concasseur and she were not smiling at each other. Both their smiles were directed at the guest of great importance, on whose arm she had entered. It was Mr. Jones. So that was the end of the fifth Roman 5, and I read Roman 6 soonest.